Shemai Pretty and welcome back to my channel. My name's Caitlin Anwin for anyone who's new here, and let's get back into building in Planet Zoo. And I'm starting the spooky builds. I waited 1 week into October. I think that was pretty good for me. And if you haven't guessed from the thumbnail, my t-shirt might say a little bit more about what the theme is for this build. And yes, it is Nightmare Before Christmas, my favorite Disney film, but I tend to watch it around Christmas rather than Halloween. But I absolutely love Nightmare Before Christmas, and I thought it would be a perfect start to the spooky builds. And I'm actually going to be making Jack's tower house, like Jack Skellington's house. And I'm starting off with the gate that Jack walks through to go up to his house. It's like the pumpkin gate. Really happy to build something spooky, but I'm even happier because a new Planet Zoo DLC has been announced. Twilight Pack. Not the Twilight that you would think of, not this Twilight, no. This is the new one. I have not stopped smiling since I saw the trailer. I feel like this pack has been created specifically for me. So it's a bit narcissistic. Like, yes, Frontier's definitely been paying attention to every single one of my speed builds. I don't even care. I'm so excited. Not only for the animals, but like the build items just from the trailer look amazing. There's jack-o'-lanterns and fallen autumnal leaves, which I could have done with last year because I did a whole autumnal zoo last year. I'll read through a couple of things from the Steam post. Give a warm welcome to everyone's favourite bandit. No, trash panda. We're getting raccoons! The most beloved Australian marsupials, the common wombat, so more Australian things. We've been in Australia for a while. Sneak through the twilight with the ever clever red fox. Foxes actually rummage through bins in the UK like the raccoons do in America, so we've got like two different trash bandits. But be careful of the striped skunk. These animals are going to be amazing. And not only that, but there's a new exhibit. A new shaped exhibit, not the box. It's a walkthrough exhibit. It's like they've been listening to me. I was just complaining about the exhibits like 2 weeks ago. I'm actually excited about the exhibits. I love bats. But yes, fruit bats and a walkthrough exhibit. So that's going to be completely different. So it's going to be slightly bigger. 20 meters long by 12 meters wide and 8 meter height. That's huge. And builders will also be able to enjoy 200 plus new scenery items. Yes! Some of which will really make the most of spooky season. So like, seeing as this is coming out in the 18th, I'm definitely going to be doing spooky builds going into November. Favorite pack ever. Move over. Conservation pack. Twilight's coming. With the new Twilight pack, we're getting a brand new career scenario. Not a timed scenario, but a career scenario. And career scenarios always have a special little place in my heart because I did those first. And I completed all those before I started building in Planet Zoo. If you haven't actually seen me play through the career scenarios, I do have a full playlist of how I got to gold on all of them before we had the separation of different difficulties. So I think my playthrough is the medium difficulty because I completed it before it was changed and like there was a new work through with that. But there's a new scenario! A Transylvania based zoo abandoned by our old friend Dominic Myers. If you have seen my career playthroughs, I hated him with a vengeance. I really hated him. I played into the whole like story so much. But we're gonna be joined by Nancy, our favourite Welsh friend. Yes, more Welsh accents for us. If you weren't already tired of my accent, we get Nancy too. This will be the first career scenario since the Arctic Pack, and the Arctic Pack was the first DLC for Planet Zoo. So this one's a really special DLC. Pretty much finished the gate and the wall for Jack's house now. I had to get a little creative with some of the object pieces to create the pumpkin gate. So it's actually made out of the neon lights, because the neon lights come in a 0.5 and they also come curved, so that helped a lot with the pumpkin shapes. And the gate doesn't actually light up though, even if it's in a powered area, because I've recolored the neon lights black, like the darkest color you can find. They won't actually light up. That's the thing with the lights. If you want the lights to be dimmer, like to create a more spooky environment, you just need to select the light color in the UI, recolor the light a darker color than what it originally was. So if you want a warm toned light, but you want it to be dimmer to create a more spooky environment, just lower that yellow down into like a brown color and it will still come off as like a yellow light, but it'll be a lot dimmer. It's the same goes for if you want different colors as well. So if you want like a red light or a purple light like I have here, you can change the colors of the lights into purples, and if you want it brighter or dimmer, it depends on the shade of purple which you select. Starting on Jack's house now. It's not topsy-turvy because it's not like odd angles all the way, but it's very small at the bottom and it expands outwards, and then the roof isn't a normal pitch either. It's curved in two different directions. So to try and have this house proportionately expand from the lower level to the top level of the building, I used different panels to start off like a template. I went into 3 levels. The width of the building went wider by 1 meter up each level, and so did the length. And then once I'd made a template out of the plaster pieces, I went in with the base game wood panels. The house looked like it was sort of made out of wood from reference images that I was looking at, which I have saved on my Pinterest board. And to fit with all of the angles that I created, I used that template to align the wood panels to surface to get the accurate angle of the walls. So when angles are like this and they're kind of tricky to follow, they don't snap into like the angle snap, the 15 degrees. Using align to surface helps a lot with trying to get the angles accurate right for the rest of the building. So the roof, I started with just the same panels that I used for the walls. And to create the tiled effect for the roof, I had a look at the roofs that were in-game, like the different roof textures, and none of them were like 3D tiled effect like what it is on Jack's house. So I used these diamond shapes from the classic style. I think they're called Boss, something Boss. If you search Boss in the search bar, these will come up. They're in the base game classic style as well if you want to find them. I think I placed thousands of these diamonds, but it gives a really good effect even from quite a distance away, which the image of Jack's house that I have in mind is looking through the gate and looking up those wiggly stairs up into this floating tower. So I wanted everything to be quite exaggerated, and I just did exactly the same thing for the smaller front roof as well, like the front of the building. The angles just leaning to the other end of the house. So the larger roof angles to... This is flipped. Fuck. Yeah, it'd be that way still, right? My camera's flipped. Anyway, the larger roof angles towards the left and the smaller roof angles towards the right. So it's the same technique using the different slopes and the diamonds, just smaller and angled the other way. And there's like a an attic window in the roof as well. I used 2 windows so I could still have it like light up at night. It's a good thing about using the in-game windows rather than creating your own, because they do light up. The Africa pack, you could create your own with the lighting from the Africa pack, but I did want this to be base game, so I didn't want to use all of those items. And of course I couldn't leave this roof blank either. I started something with those diamonds. I really wasn't exaggerating when I said that there's like hundreds if not thousands of diamonds in this build. If my game already didn't take minutes to load up this zoo after this build, oof, I think it is it's probably going to be better for me to start a brand new zoo for the Twilight DLC. I still can't help but think naming it Twilight is making me think of vampires. It started this whole paranormal reading obsession. Well, sort of anyway. Twilight was one of the first ones I've read, and that's not even on the shelf. She didn't make it. Now if I was going to recommend a vampire book series, it would be those up there by Rachel Kane, the Morganville Vampires series. 10 out of 10. It is a YA series as well, so no detailed spicy scenes in it either. This little balcony area was still angled differently as well, but I used angle snap for this so it wasn't as difficult to build with. So the balcony area actually angles outwards from the building, so it not only aligns to the house angles, it angles outwards itself too. But yeah, I couldn't help but put like a couple of little pumpkins outside of his house because he is the pumpkin king. He needs some pumpkins. And I recolored them to be less saturated, like a darker orangey color, because Halloween Town at the start of the film is not as saturated as when Jack goes to Christmas Town. That's when all the colour comes out, really. So it's like a difference between Halloween Town and Christmas Town. So I didn't want the pumpkins to be like a super bright colour. I put it off and I put it off and I put it off. I did not want to do this tower, and I looked at the house and I was like, oh yeah, you look great, but you're not done, you. Damn. And I cheated so much. Well, I didn't cheat per se, but I used a few different tricks to make this a bit easier on myself. So I used I think it's the Indian style bay window, and I duplicated 2 of those to create the main tower. And I used the art shapes for the like tower supports instead of using columns, because I could have different sizes and stuff. And for the tower roof, it is just a cone, but I couldn't leave the cone just that plain texture. I needed all of the roofs to match with each other, so I had to get those diamonds back out, didn't I? And this was the bit where I was just like, fuck everything, I hate this build. I smile because otherwise I will cry. I was so ready to stop this entire thing, not post this build, just because this tower roof was just so frustrating. It was really hard to select the diamonds because the cone was so large. So I started off with trying to move the cone up and down out of the way so I could select the diamonds, but it still wasn't quite aligning to surface nicely. So I ended up having to individually place each diamond down using advanced duplicate, and I could not unselect this. So every time I'd place one down, I had to keep it in advanced move, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to select the next diamond to place it down. For some reason, the diamond started twisting and going down in an angle. I don't know whether that was like because of how I started these diamond placements with the align to surface, or it was just something I was doing trying to get the diamonds to sit on the cone nicely. These placements made me rage, so we'll skip over them because I don't even want to look. But now I've completed the tower and I've completed Jack's house. I wanted to place this in the right space so that when the guests walk through the pumpkin gate, they can look up and see Jack's house just like in the film. And I was individually going to build a staircase for the house, but I was nearing about 8 hours at this point, and it actually makes the speed builds too fast if I go over more than 8 hours, because that's like 8 times speed just to get the footage down to an hour, and then I cut it down even more into like 15-minute to 20-minute video. So I ended up just using the regular staircase for the guests, like the guest pathway staircase. I hid a little sneaky donut shop counter behind the building because it was just the right amount, right size for a counter. The house hid the counter well, but now guests can walk up the stairs and grab themselves a donut. The nice little treat then will be worth the walk up all those wobbly stairs that have no railings or no path supports underneath either. Completely against gravity, but that is Nightmare Before Christmas. I know I didn't really talk a lot about the speed build. Most things were self-explanatory because I was recreating something, but I really wanted to talk about this new DLC. It is coming out next week, and if my excitement didn't encourage you to want to download it or anything, if you don't have Planet Zoo, I hope you do stick around, and I will show off all of the new animals next week and some of the new scenery items, and let me know whether you want me to build using the new items then for the week after, or start the career scenario. Either way I'm super happy with. But I'm gonna leave it off there. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what animal you're most excited for. Are you looking forward to this Twilight pack as much as I am? Probably not. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button, and if you haven't already and you would like to, it would mean a lot to me if you could subscribe and hit the bell to be notified whenever I upload a new video. I upload speed builds on Wednesdays and shorts tutorials on Saturdays. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!